You're dead.
How far did it go?
I'm a submarine now. I'm a submarine now.
Unflip them, bro.
So we got our boy Cody from BC Racing back in the house with his Dadley Driver RTR Mustang, and we got a whole new round of goodies we're putting on this time, focusing mostly on suspension stuff. We got this sweet fun haver angle kit, the extended control arms, the knuckle adapters, the tie rods. We got the whole getup going on, and it comes with instructions.
Get out.
I know.
And you read them too, didn't you?
I did.
It's because it has pictures.
I love pictures. So we're gonna get started. First thing, obviously secure the car on the lift or jack stands, and we're gonna take the front wheels off. They do require us to remove all of the plastics in the fender liner, so we're gonna start with all that. I'm reading the instructions.
RTR kit. Pop it out, pop it back in. Hello. They gave me a microphone. So we're pulling out these fender liners because you don't actually need them because your wheels will hit them.
Yep.
So we're just gonna throw them away.
And also the first portion of this install is to install your coilover. But guess what? We already got coilovers. So it's almost like the guy from BC Racing owns this car and has BC Racing coilover.
Perfect. I know right where to put those.
Garbage?
The back of the kite truck because it's filled with garbage.
Step one, we are safely supported the vehicle on a hoist or jack stands. We remove the wheels and tires. We remove the fender lines. It says to remove the brakes and the suspension and steering components on both sides, but I don't think we need to do that. I feel like I can just let this thing dangle from the coilover if I unbolt the lower ball joint, but time will tell. So this is full lock right now from the factory. Very disappointing.
Oh, 15 degrees.
Leaves a lot to be desired. So mental picture, this is what's happening now.
It reminds me of his Ultima he used to have.
It's like a 3-point turn to get into parking spot.
Yeah, it was so horrible.
I was just talking about that this morning.
And you tried to park and you could actually park with your Infinity?
Mm-hmm. First portion, we are going to unbolt our factory 2 lower control arms and replace it with our one-piece unit. Take the outer tie rod off and leave all of our knuckle stuff so we can bolt our adapter on. And then there's some nutty torque specs that I'll go over with you guys once we get to that point, like 180 foot-pounds for some of these bolts. So hopefully the factory ones aren't that tight because we're not gonna have a good time breaking them loose. But they are really big bolts. We're not gonna be reusing these sway bar end links, but I'm just gonna put this hardware here so I don't lose it. Now, after you've loosened all of your nuts, you've got your fine adjustment tool. And you want to hit it right on the side of the collar, not on the tie rod nut itself. There she goes.
How's that work?
Well, all the tension is in this taper right here. So when you hit the side of this, it just shocks it free, basically. So now you get that out of your way, and you can swing this over, give you a better swing to hit over here. There she goes. And look, both of them broke loose. How nice is that? So now all of that is out of our way, and then we can unbolt our lower control arm bolts. Then we can start putting our knuckle adapter on. That is one of the portions that's gonna have a crazy high amount of foot poundage, so it's easier to do it on the car. The instructions do say you can remove the knuckle and the brake assembly to do it. We're trying to put that in a vise and torque it to 180 something foot-pounds. It's gonna be a little tight without tipping the table over. Gonna try and leave our jam nuts exactly where they're sitting right now. That'll kind of help us keep the steering wheel centered best we can.
Style ratchet. Measure our...
Where is it? Fomoco makes your lower control arm in 2 pieces that go to the knuckle. As these arms are extended for 1, but also this new knuckle adapter here changes your 2 bolts to 1 bolt for a little central pickup point. So it also makes the whole assembly more narrow, gives you more clearance for it, as well as bringing the wheels out further so that your tires don't hit the inside of your chassis. And throw these out. So our knuckle adapter here, one is offset at a weird tapered angle, and then this one's flat. This has our Ackerman plates that will go in there. Fortunately, they make it so that you can still install those plates after you've installed the knuckle. We found our hardware from our kit. That's going to put the bolts through the top here. These portions are threaded. And then we'll bolt that up nice and tight, and then we can get our control arm in place. And once the control arm's in place, I'll torque these down real good. So that way I have a true pivot point without this thing moving all over the place. So we got big boy washers for our big boy bolts, and smaller washers for our small bolts. Very thin washers. So I'm not sure if they recommend it, but I'm gonna put some thread locker on these things because we don't need these problems. betrayed by the washers. We have all of our little eyelets, which are gonna just be a good old nightmare to get in because they always fall out while you're trying to line up control arms. But you know, we're used to it. And then our kit also comes with these spacers here. Larger ones, smaller ones. So we're gonna get those into position. 2 and 2, and then these 2 for this arm. So according to my trusty instructions, the portion that goes forward in the car will have the larger spacers because that's where our longer bolt is, and the shorter spacers will go on the intersection. Trying to get this to line up, it's going to be really fun because these eyelets are just going to fall out the whole time. So knowing that our sway bar link has to point upwards, we know that this will be our driver's side control arm. It's the easiest way I can think to reference it because everything is offset upwards. So luckily these billet boys are pretty light. And if you leave these bolts loose, oh,
You drop your eyelets.
before I even started putting them in, that's gonna happen. Oh. But yeah, if you leave this loose, that'll aid in your assembly process because this will give you a little bit of wiggle room to get the arm in there and then span out. And also you can twist these a bit. So on the instructions, they say to leave a 1/2 inch of thread exposed on each one. So we got out our tape measure, measured a 1/2 inch of thread, set our jam nut to be kind of close to where it's supposed to be. And if they give me too much trouble, I'm just gonna put this arm in 2 pieces, take these bolts all the way out, slide this portion out, put the front part of the arm in, then put the other part of the arm in. So for now, we're gonna swing this up out of our way a little bit, best we can. This can come out. Eyelets, spacers, and then our factory bolts. Stick that in, put a spacer on it, and slide that in there. Heavier than it looks. And then we're gonna try slide this back a little bit and work this spacer in here. Come on, baby, you're almost there. Aha, I got that one started. We can rotate this. See that little bit of pitch? That's gonna help.
Wait, does the thyroid go inside the arm?
Yeah, it does. So yeah, I'm gonna take this apart just because I'm gonna make my life a little easier because I'm not taking that back out. Two-piece lower control arms. It's a beautiful thing. So now we know that this goes this way, with our taper setting downward. Now I'm gonna grab my other bolt, big spacers, same story. Let's slide this in here, put our spacer on. This is supposed to go the tie rod through it. Much easier to do in 2 pieces. And we can still get our tie rod in there and get our sway bar link mounting upwards and then slide this. It's very tight machine fit. And these came with bolts facing downward and the nuts on the bottom. So you put your 2 eyelets in just like we did with our other arms. This actually has a little pocket that it sits in that doesn't allow it to rotate, so you can torque the bolt down real good. We're gonna swing that out here, get this into its home. Now you're really gonna have to work for it. 180 foot-pounds on this bolt. Wish me luck. Yeah, there's your 180 foot-pounds. So this guy here as well is gonna be 180 foot-pounds. So since we're twisting this way, we're just gonna flip the angle over the other direction. I'm not gonna be able to fit these brake hoses. That's as much angle as I get on the stock brake hose with the extended lowers. So that right there, that's gonna be a problem. So we're gonna have to find some brake hoses for the front of this thing. I'm just gonna unbolt where the brake line's mounted over here and get a little more slack off the hard line in the meantime. This wheel speed sensor here is a little tight as well. Keep some slack off of that for now. All because our control arms are like a couple inches wider than the factory ones, which help our wheel not hit the chassis, or anything else for that matter. Now with that line disconnected, I can swing this all the way over so I can put some juice on this thing, because that's guy is the next one. All the bolts that have a 24mm head, which includes this one going to the knuckle adapter, our lower ball joint, as well as this front bolt right here, are all going to be at 180 foot-pounds. Back to work. You usually don't ever want to pull toward yourself when you're torquing, but I'm running out of options over here. I will be removing the rest of the factory sway bar end link. What kind of animals are installing this? Moving this guy, installing this guy. So our long bolt will go through our lower control arm. This one we are going to put on the middle setting for now. Now we have our tie rod ends along with our bolts, and then we have Ackerman plates. And then those just plop in right inside of there. And then your bolt goes up in there, and then there's a nut that gets locked into place. In the meantime, we're going to thread this onto here. So I got them both about halfway on their adjustment points, what the instructions say. Then from there you got a double adjustable collar, give you plenty of extra sauce. This side being left-hand thread, the other side being right-hand thread. So this will go sideways like this, and then the bolt will go into there. Obviously this side being the same installation process as we did on the other side, but we learned our lesson and we're just going to go ahead and put this in 2 pieces this time. So now obviously some alignment stuff needs to be done because we have a whole bunch of camber up front. So Chelsea's gonna come give us a hand with that, but you can already see all that angle we got versus the factory. We were like over here. Like this thing is nutty. It's a whole lot of angle. So we bolt checked everything, tightened our lock collars on all of our adjustable heims there. So everything was still set at that 1/2 inch that we took it off. Once the alignment's done, he's gonna whip some shitties. Can I say that? Yeah. Can I say whip shitties? He's gonna drift it. And he's gonna show the difference of how it was before versus how it is now.
Well, we don't really have it before, do we?
Yeah. Yeah, they got a bunch of videos of him sliding this thing.
I can't ever get the torque spec for those subframe bolts, the ones that go through the inner arm.
I put it on 180 and I started to crank it. I'm like, this is gonna strip. This is tight enough. It's way tighter than when I took it off.
It's weird because that's the OE spec.
Yeah, definitely wasn't that when I removed it.
But I
but
feel
this
like,
guy was fun too.
Yeah.
But they said to remove all of the brakes and knuckle and all that stuff and assemble it outside of the car. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I can put this on with just let it hang off the coilover. So we did that.
People do it off the car so they understand like what they're doing.
Yeah, and it's raining.
That happened really quickly.
Hi Chelsea.
What's up?
Welcome to our video.
How's it going?
It's done.
Pretty
Angle
easy,
kit's
right?
done. Yeah, it was straightforward. Once I realized it's way easier to install the lower control arm in 2 pieces as opposed to trying to put it on as 1.
Yep.
Then it was like,
I usually still do it as one, just feed the tie rod through it. Did you leave these bolts loose?
I did not. Well, during the installation I did.
Okay, cool.
And then tightened everything after I had it all set. And I
you
did,
just
the
have to
instructions said a 1/2 inch of threads exposed on each of the collars, so I just went off of that. I don't know what kind of adjustments you need to do. Looks like it has a pretty excessive amount of camber up front right now, but I don't know what you're trying to run with.
Pull those all the way in.
The lowers?
I had the one arm set to like where we probably wanted to run it, which is like all the way in.
Just on the outer or the inner and outer?
Probably both, because he wants to drive this car on the street.
Well, start adjusting.
It's a little easier said than done.
I don't know about these huge Johnnies up front here.
That's the same spec that we run on our cars, but
you got a little bit of over fender on your car too.
no, we have stock fender cars working too.
Yeah?
Yeah, so the way I do it is I just pull the bolt out and just pull the spacers out of each side, and then you can spin it without pulling the whole shit.
Yeah. Kind of figured.
Yeah, you'll have to loosen these 3 bolts and then adjust this in. I think it's pretty much going to have to be at its shortest distance possible.
Okay, so pretty much all of the arms then will just be all the way capped inward, because wheel position's kind of central right now, so.
That's definitely where we're going to start. I
Okay.
mean, the issue is most people that are building this car are drifting them only.
Yeah.
And Cody's going to drift it 1 lap for every 3,000 miles that he puts on it driving. So we got to go the other way with it.
Yep.
That was kind of the reason why we wanted to put it on this car too, is see how much angle we could get out of it with everything sunk all the way in.
Yeah.
And we have those steering limiters.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about the steering limiters either, to see where we were going to end up with it.
Probably both of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of what I figured with these big Johnnies up front.
Yep.
It's got a nice amount of angle though.
Yeah, it really is like almost 70 degrees, but we just mark it as like 60. Everybody who like markets over 70 degrees, it's like on the car, it's not really getting 70 degrees.
And it's also different when you just like sweep it on the floor as opposed to when you're driving it with like it loaded into lock.
Yeah, it can get more angle that way, yeah. For sure.
So we narrowed out the lower control arms because we are on a larger wheel and we are on stock fenders as well. And so we shortened our tie rods up as much as we could. Now we're checking ride height and our tire is on our fender. So we're gonna raise this up another 1.5 inches. We have a little bit of cash we gotta take out the other side, and our tires are kind of hitting stuff, so Chelsea's gonna run home, see if he's got some 255s for us.
Yeah, typically we run 255, 35, 20s on the front. He had a 275. I knew it was gonna be tough, but I thought we could fit it, but it's too close. So we're gonna have to go to the smaller tire size. Also, this is kind of a car of a different task than most cars we would be installing the angle kit on, 'cause it's gonna be street driven a ton. So we've got the arms as short as possible, and we're gonna get the camber somewhat suitable and kind of have it be a balance of having good angle, single pivot design, and also streetable.
And not wiping out tires in the first 3,000 miles.
Yep.
Since I'm not super shiny right now, so we made our alignment adjustments, height adjustments, we set our toe, and we did a little bit of trimming, and now they're gonna go see what it does. Compare the old angle to the new angle, plus all the sweet new suspension geometry in the front.
So we got the Fun Haver angle kit on. I actually didn't do any of the mechanical work outside of looking over everything, but we got ride height set. It's gonna settle a little bit, which should match the rear. And then we went to a smaller tire in the front to gain some clearance. It's 255, 35, 20 still, so we still got a lot of diameter. And we were able to trim some things back, fit it under the stock fender, and now we have a single pivot suspension in the front and steering system that should give a lot more steering feel and give us probably about 20 degrees more angle than stock. And then if he ever wants to do the over fenders or modify it some more, then he'll be able to get up to like almost 70 degrees. So I'm pretty excited to try it out in a full street car mode.
In 5 minutes and you already broke something.
No, I just gotta put it in drift mode.
What the hell's drift mode?
Right here, you just unplug this. Now it has ABS, but no other, any sort of traction control, any wheel speed control. It's called dyno mode, but that's how you drift it. Happy with that? We need another one, or?
I'm happy. End the video.
End the video.